Okay, welcome. Call the meeting to order. And yes, we're live streaming, although everybody knows that because we have to wait for the live stream. So, anyway. Continue with item B is the land acknowledgement statement. I believe we left off there last time.
Yep.
So it starts there again. Councilor Henry, please.
Augusta Township acknowledges that we live and work on ancestral territories of Indigenous people. The township recognizes all Indigenous peoples and honors their past, present, and future. The township values and respects their culture, heritages, and relationship to the land.
Get it? Okay, Mayor's opening remarks. Again, I got a few. Today, myself, Deputy Mayor, Councilor Pape, and the CAO, and the Treasurer, and who else I missed?
Beside you.
Annette, our clerk, all attended the Steve Clark breakfast in the Prescott Golf Club this morning. So, thank you very much. You had a very good turnout. I also got a compliment during that meeting on how the environment in the office, this office, township offices, how is it improved? So I'd like to pass that on to everybody, to all the departments. So people are actually saying they're noticing an improvement. So thank you very much for that. I'd like to hear comments like that. Also, what I'd like to do is, about 2 weeks ago, I had a meeting with the CAO. Before that meeting, I took a little drive down to, I thought I'd go visit the heritage plaque on County Road 26, which says the Roebuck Indian Village, where there used to be 40 to 60 longhouses there. And so I stopped and I read that, and yeah, it needs a little bit of care. And there's a lot of weeds around it and everything else. So anyway, it got us thinking, the Deputy Mayor, myself, and the CAO, and a couple others, of maybe how we can improve things. So I'll ask the CAO say a few things during his turn when it comes up later on. Then I took a drive to the drive by the Roebuck Recreation. I saw a mother there with 2 small kids, and the playground was absolutely beautiful. It was a beautiful day. The kids were having a great time. It just, it was great. Then I kept going on. I went down McCrae Road and by Mill Pond. And I went in the driveway at Mill Pond, the parking lot there, and there was some sort of forestry or agricultural class. About 10 students in there taking notes and looking at things. I said, man, this is really working. So then I continued down the road. I don't know if I was on Skakum or McCrae still. But and then I crossed a big culvert, and of course there's 3 turtle boxes on each side of the road. So I said, hey, this is pretty neat, so I came up through Maiden, and then I had to meet with CAO, and he turned, he darkened my day. But it was a beautiful day, Mr. Rogers, until that time. But what I'm saying, it takes a lot of people to do those things. And thank you very much to everybody, it's, just do that. Just roll down the window and go for a drive, and don't look for the bad things, look for the good things, in our township. Okay, I want to remind councilors to do their witness, please. You got to the end of the month, I believe. We made the presentation to the Lane Chartrand Community Center a week ago, and everybody was in attendance except for yourself. Yes, Councilor Pape. So I know you couldn't be there, your job required you, but thank you everybody. It was good. We sent a press release right out afterwards. I'm sure there'll be something in the South Granville Beacon, but I don't seem to get anything in the Recorder and Times. I don't know why. Maybe they're listening, but there is in Granville County. So anyway, this week myself and the CAO are going to attend the grand opening on this Thursday at Maitland. It's actually the Villas of Maison Maitland. It's the, I think you've seen construction going on with that big home just on the County Road 2. So anyway, the grand opening is there at 4 o'clock, so we intend to make ourselves present there. Deputy Mayor filled in for me at South Grenville District High School on 27th June and gave out a couple of bursaries, I believe. And it was a hot night in there, because I did last year. So, but it's a good night, so thank you very much for that. We had Desjardins Insurance and Benefit Training, so I want to thank the treasurer and the CAO for doing that. You know, and allowing our wives and partners to come too, because I certainly don't do the paperwork, so I dare do it anyway, but it helps, so. The fire chief, myself, deputy mayor, and CAO attended North Glengarry Fire Department Training Center. And I think about a week ago, we had took the morning and they demonstrated the different towers they had, the different structures they had, the equipment. It's all for, you know, North Glengarry's using it, but the main purpose they wanted to show it to everybody was that it's there to be rented by fire departments. It's another venue, so you know, I wish them luck, and chances are our fire department will probably team up with another fire department in the future and use that venue. You know, so it's a good, looked like a very good training facility. Okay, the deputy mayor is gone from mid-July to mid-August. He's going to the Rock. So, when do you leave, by the way?
August 18th.
August 18th?
No, July 18th, back on.
July 18th, okay.
July 18th, back on
All right.
August 18th.
And I'm gone the first week in August. So therefore, the acting mayor will be Councillor Bowman. So you better get wheels on that. Because you've got to do all the functions and everything else. So, are you up to it? If not, pass the torch. Okay, we'll move on. Next we have the approval of the agenda. And moved by Deputy Mayor Winans, seconded by Councillor Pate. Be it resolved that the agenda for July 10th, 2023 be adopted. Is there any amendments or anything else anybody wants to add, change to the agenda?
Augusta, Station 1 be advised, at message only.
Okay, I have one amendment, and that is, we've already passed it, but anyway, changing the reconciliation statement, item B, will now be land acknowledgement statement. So I'll just say, be resolved that the agenda, the amended agenda for July 10th be adopted. Any other comments? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, moved by Councillor Pate, seconded by Deputy Mayor Winans. Be resolved that council approve the minutes of the June 26, 23 council meeting is distributed to all members. Is there any changes, any addition? Favor? Carried. Thank you. Item F, a disclosure of pecuniary interest and nature and general nature thereof. Does anybody have anything to bring forward? So nothing. Item G, business arising from the minutes. Again, no notice. And brings us to H, delegations and presentations. And tonight we have the 2023 Road Needs Study Project from Greer Galloway and Mr. Kevin Hawley. So, Kevin, we just got the road needs study here in front of us. So I'll give you the floor.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So yes, Gear Galloway was, Gear Galloway did do the road needs study for the township. These are basic studies that are completed every 4 years. We do a lot of rural townships in the area. We do Elizabethtown, Kitley, and we did Edwardsburg Cardinal. Your township is very, very similar to these adjacent townships. Do we have the slide presentation, or do you want me to just go through the sheets that you have in front of you? It's probably just sheets. Okay. So I'll just use them as a basis point. So basically, your fairly common rural road infrastructure. About 111 kilometers of asphalt, 12 kilometers of surface treatment, gravel. The roads are primarily rural, low ADT. That's your average annual daily traffic count. We did notice there are some changes happening in the township. You are expanding like every other rural township where you're getting a lot of severances, a lot of agricultural land, pastures being changed into separate lots, and more residents are moving out into the rural municipality versus coming out from the city. Basic review, we come in and do a third-party review of your road infrastructure, which means we basically look at the structural components of your road. The horizontal, the vertical curves, your structure of your road, your drainage, any surface defects we may see, cracking, humps, frost heaves. We don't take into consideration complaints from residents or anything like that. Unfortunately, ours is more, we come in and give you an external review of what we think you should be doing with your roads going forward and how you should spend your funds, and broken down into a 1, 5, 6 to 10 and beyond infrastructure spending. And this is the idea, is it gives you a nice review from someone outside the organization. And it is a template, I would say, for future spending. It's not set in stone that you have to follow this. It does come in handy for grant funding. From time to time, if you apply for municipal grants, they will ask to see that you've done this. It is a requirement for any grant. They'll want to see that road or wherever you're trying to apply for was on this plan. Roads are ranked for rehabilitation purposes based on 3 factors: traffic volume, existing condition, cost of rehab. Additional considerations given to unique circumstances, bundling of projects in the same geographical area. So sometimes when you have, I guess more towards like Maitland or a smaller community where you have 2 or 3 projects kind of similar in size or close together, smaller road sections, we like to bundle those together into one project. So that might bump a project up or down, depending, because you'd like to do those smaller sections in one bundle versus doing 1 kilometer for one little road and then coming back and doing them one beside it in 5 years. So sometimes that does affect how they're rated. I've just given a basic table for improvements. I haven't printed off all the tables to go through. The report is there. If you want to point out individual roads, again, it's just based on our third-party review. It's not really intended to go down and pick and nitpick and shift them either way. This is more of just an overview from a third party based, again, on just the structural adequacy of the road and the ADT. We use a manual that was produced by the MTO, and in that report you'll see the scoring system. It's broken down on different categories and what the road meets in those categories. A number, and then we'll give a rating. I would say the worst roads I've seen are old concession roads that sometimes the municipality will still have. They're almost undrivable, so that's starts at 0 and then you work your way up. One thing we don't take into consideration generally is the horizontal and vertical curves. We don't do this because generally municipalities don't have the money to fix them. Your township is not so bad. You're in Eastern Ontario, you're fairly flat. You might have some horizontal curves that might not meet design requirements. However, if you start getting into fixing every horizontal curve, especially so I have couch country, but some of those windy back roads, it's unrealistic for you to bring that up to any kind of standards. It's just not possible. So we try not to take those into account as much, those 2 scoring criteria. In that table, you'll see proposed rehabilitation methods. Some of them will be short-term, some will be long-term, some of them might be resurfacing, some of them might be reconstruction. Again, that's based on the visual assessment of each individual road section and what we've seen. It is not a design, it is a visual assessment of at the time when we do the inspection. Generally, we like to do these in the spring, that's when the frost heave comes out. And I would say any road structure, that is the number one thing you should repair first, is ditching. Any kind of water in your road base, there's no point in doing anything else until you ditch. Generally, you have pretty good drainage. It is a problem, especially as you get farther east from here, and East Prairie Township gets pretty flat. But ditching is the number one thing that you can do to improve your road network first. Before you spend any other money, make sure your ditches are kind of up to grade and got water moving. High volume roads are generally in out condition with adequate drainage. These roads stand the greatest loading. Drainage, I talked about. Township to review existing road network annually. The spring is a great time to do an assessment. Other townships, I've heard they've done rented buses, and I know councillors might not be a bad idea, and they do like a bus tour of the worst 5 roads on the list. That's a suggestion. Sorry, John. And it kind of gives a perspective, because sometimes people are just, quick question, you guys set up in wards, or are you set up as, no, not wards, okay. I've dealt township that in wards, and it's always a fight where I'm in Bedford, let's say, and I need money, my road's the worst. It's good to get a perspective of the whole township and not just the individual spots. So that's good, you're not in wards. A typical road section, we've given you a typical road section of what a road should look like. It's pretty basic. I mean, you're not going to really upgrade in your roads. You're not going to widen them per se. I would say you might look at hard topping, but we'll get into that. That's probably the number one question I get is, why isn't my road surface treatment or paved? So I will touch on that, and that's probably the number one question I get all the time, especially in these meetings, is when can I get my road paved? So that kind of leads into the next component, is collect data for level of service. So there's something called an AADT, that's the annual average daily traffic count. And the AADT will kind of drive what kind of road you should be designing for. Your traffic volumes on, let's say, Highway 2 in Brockville is going to have a much higher ADT than a rural road somewhere else in your township. That number will drive mainly what you should do with your road and what level of service you should apply to it. A general number is, if it's less than 400, it shouldn't be surface treatment, it should be gravel. That's just based on the amount of traffic that road gets. That is also based on the amount of tax base that's on that road that's going to pay for that surface treatment or that piece of infrastructure for your township. If you have 10 people on a road and they want a surface treatment, that tax base might never cover that infrastructure, a piece of infrastructure. Even if all of their tax dollars just went to that upgrade, they will never pay enough actually to cover that. And that's something I like to explain to the councilors. A good thing to tell the residents is, yes, you live on a road, it may be long, but there's not the tax base on here, even if we took all your taxes for the next decade to cover the cost just to upgrade this. There are costs inside the document itself per kilometer for paving and surface treatment. But ADT is the driver for upgrading to surface treatment. Improvement to township hamlets, somewhere where the ADT might not be as important. The only time I'd really say is maybe you're in a subdivision, new subdivision, where you get the developer to pave based on being an urban cross-section versus a rural. You want to kind of shift that cost over to the developer versus the township taking it on to upgrade those new subdivisions that might be coming online, or any site plans you see coming across your desk. Relative to high density mainly upgrading hamlets. Okay, conversion. Here again, I'm going to go over the conversion of gravel roads to hard surface with rural townships. This seems to be the number one. ADT of 400. That's the point also that the cost of maintenance for gravel road outweighs the cost to change it to a hard surface. A grader and gravel really doesn't cost anything in the long term compared to hard surfacing. Another thing to remember when upgrading a road is you're upgrading a piece of infrastructure that you're automatically going to have to start saving for to replace in the future. A road is a deteriorating asset. It is not infinite. They have a lifespan. You will have to replace them sometimes. So as soon as you put it down, you're gonna have to start saving to replace. Additionally, I like to tell people that once you surface treat a road or pave it, it's very hard to go back to gravel. If you think it's, maybe you get a lot of phone calls going one way, going the other is even worse. So you may have funding come in where you think you have enough funds this year to pave a whole bunch of roads. Just remember, you're basically writing a check for 15, 20 years down the road, where that road's gonna have to be replaced with that pavement again. So I did have one township one time said they want to pave every road. And I explained to them that that might be good now, but you're duking yourself in the long run, that cost is gonna come due again. One other note on hard surfacing a road. Speed is the other big issue with rural townships. Speeding, I hear all the time. As soon as you hard surface that road, you are going to have an increase in speed. People do not drive, roads are designed for a certain speed limit. However, people will drive a road whatever they feel comfortable at. You can put up as many speed signs as you like. Traffic calming measures that you'll see used nowadays in the cities are almost like visual deterrents to make the person feel more uncomfortable driving at a higher speed. That's why you see these build-ins, these bump outs at intersections, or narrower streets, or you'll see the dreaded speed bumps, or sometimes indicators in the middle of the road. They're almost a visual distraction to slow people down. People will drive whatever they feel comfortable at. So if you hard surface a road, there will be an increase in speed on that road, and no matter what you post it at. Posting is just, unless you have cops in all the time, they're going to drive whatever they feel comfortable. So at this point, I guess I can take any questions or general questions from councilors.
Roads are number one complaint, that nobody's got any questions.
And this might be a good document for you to use and some of this information to talk to them about your, with your residents when they complain. Generally, drainage, hard surfacing, and speed are the main ones I hear all the time.
Being in a rural community, I know one of the things is with farm machinery, they look for the, I call them wide shoulders, but firm shoulders, because they try to keep one tractor tire on the shoulder to allow traffic to go by. So I think we got some roads that are good, but others, it's just impossible.
So that's an excellent point, one I forgot to bring up, and it does mention in the report, is agricultural roads with heavy use, you should not hard surface at all, unless you're going to put 2 layers of asphalt. The half load restrictions that apply to most other heavy types of machinery do not apply to farm machinery. Farm machinery is not like it was 25 years ago. Those spreaders and those manure spreaders, they do not have weight restrictions. And in the spring, when they go out to plant, they will, if your road structure is insufficient, they will destroy it fairly quickly.
Councilor?
Yeah, a lot of residents tell me, and I grew up on a gravel road, and I don't mind a gravel road. You can drive same speed on a gravel road as gravel, as pavement, as long as it's a good gravel road. One that's full of potholes or one that's mushy, those are the ones they complain about.
Yep.
But the other big complaint, and you get from residents, is that they live in a gravel road, they pay the same taxes they save as everybody else, but they get stone chips. So there's more maintenance on a vehicle than to live on a gravel road.
No, and that's understood, and we're finding a lot with these rural townships is people moving out into them expecting that higher level of service. So again, I would explain to them the ADT, the speeding, and then you're right, soft spots in a road, that should be something that the ditching and the rehabilitation will hopefully fix. And that's always going to be a long-term thing, upgrading these roads to that standard.
And not everything's black and white either. Like you mentioned the wards, the pressure from the wards.
Oh, it's
with us here, even though we don't have wards, it's the same thing. The last 6-7 years, I've got complaints on the 6th concession and Algonquin Road, So, and I see them, the property selling out there, they're building houses that are worth $800,000 and they got a gravel road. Yes, I know their tax base won't cover it, but, sometimes you gotta make decisions that will,
And I completely understand this. This is meant as a technical document. Sometimes decisions have other
Yeah.
inputs that we couldn't put in a report. Otherwise, I'd be getting
No,
calls
no,
from
no,
residents
I
nonstop.
know that. It's, no, it's good that we have some sort of, data that tells us what shape the roads are in. And with roads, it's our number one concern. It's our number one cost, and, it's a hard call every year. What do you do, so, and you just try to keep everybody happy, but it's, yeah, by a little mixture of everything, yeah.
Well, I agree with you that when you pave a gravel road, and especially when a new gravel road, road is paved or repaved, the speeds will go up and you drive whatever you're comfortable at. And I would be more comfortable if you could bank your corners in there. I wouldn't have to slow down.
There must be something else here. Yes, there are designs for super elevated corners. However, you're just going to encourage faster.
All right, any other questions, anybody? Well, thank you very much, Kevin.
Thank you.
And, John, of course, will memorize this, because we're going to be firing up some.
My questions in the spring, yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Good job.
Correspondence and petitions. Any correspondence, petitions? No. So, committees, staff reports, council, county's council. We had, I had committed the whole meeting. During that meeting, we had delegation from Sherwood Park Manor. They're expecting to add on 92 beds. They're asking the counties for $750,000 to put towards that. So that was one discussion we had. Also, a policy for establishing posted speed limits on county roads. We reviewed that and basically it didn't change again. Well, it changed. It was the last one that was basically on paper. Mel Campbell was the warden, so they just updated it. So basically, yeah, the same thing. Recommendations can come from the lower tier, which is this council, to the higher tier, which is county's council, on changes in speed limits and that. It can also come from the public, but then the counties will have to check with the lower tiers to make sure it's okay. And it can come from the police, etc. So again, it's all documented. This kind of went through that. So, no, it didn't change, just more updated, that's all. And then we had a joint services meeting. We had two delegations. One is the Cooperative Care Center. It's a building on the southwest corner of the, what's it called, the Rideau Regional Center Complex in Brockville there. I guess it's still under, or Ottawa, I guess it's under Ottawa now. That one large house, that's that Cooperative Care Center. It's an outreach for homeless and overnight accommodation for about 20 people. They do meals, bus passes, etc. And in 2022, they served 6,906 homeless. Okay, so they just basically give us that they're going to need more beds. So they turn people away each night, so. Also Habitat for Humanity presentation we had. Again, like the one we had, CAO and I had discussions with them. They're really looking at service lots, with water and sewer. So, but we don't have too many of them, so. But we said, if you want just a lot, come back and see us, but, it's kind of where we left it. Okay, that was counties. And the conservation authorities, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, we had a meeting for Rideau Valley at Foley's Mountain. It was well attended, and Seven Nation had their 75th anniversary at Fitch. So before that, other than that, there wasn't much at the Rideau Valley or Seven Nation other than that.
Recreation. Who wants to go first, Damon?
I can go first.
Okay.
So, as your worship pointed out and saw himself, the playground in Roebuck is finished. A couple little things that need to be tidied up, but, and I've seen some video of it as well. The zip line seems to be really popular. So I encourage everyone to check it out and have some fun on the zip line. No news yet on the Trillium grant, but all the other grant projects have been completed. The hall's been very busy. It's going to be very busy over the next several months.
Oh, I saw the zip line. It looks great, you know, and, what else did I see? Yeah, again, it was just a zip line, but Roebuck looks so clean, and just the way it is. And
Yeah.
manicured and everything else, so. Any questions, comments for Councillor Pate? No? Okay, who's next? North Augusta?
Yeah, North Augusta, I was at the North Augusta meeting. I had to leave early to come back for the policy, or a planning meeting, but, they covered most of the stuff. Everything was going good. They had really good turnout for all. They were super busy, and, soccer was just about done, and the building is coming down. And, theme for Labor Day is a little bit of country.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that, but you did, good. Is council, I was gonna say, is council interested in doing something together along the theme for the parade?
Sure. Why not? Do it.
Because, nothing personal, I don't wanna sit in a fire truck.
Nobody wants to go in.
But if we want to do something together as a theme and as a council, we can. I'm game for it. Because last year, I think, yeah, you two did in your truck. I was on the street talking to people. Yeah,
I was on the horse.
you're on board with, yeah. So,
And our Public Works had a float parade.
they had, trying to remember what it was.
Grader, backhoe, truck,
Oh, well, yeah, okay, that's
usual,
usual.
usual steel.
They're like fire trucks, okay.
I think they like to rebuild the summer. I just don't wanna see the mayor riding in up your dump truck now, so he doesn't want to be. My truck's shining years.
No, I think it's great, I'm just saying, if we wanna get a float or do something, you know, somebody take a hold of it, let me know, I'll join in. I can put on the spurs.
There, or they have you ride up in the bucket truck.
Nah, bucket truck.
The bucket truck.
All right, it was just a thought, anyway.
Country theme. Country theme.
Yeah, it's a lasso.
Okay, Merck, anything, Merck?
You're done till September.
Good, things look good there.
Yep.
Maynard, I think we have a meeting this week.
Yes.
And Donville, I think they're okay.
Yep.
Did I forget anybody? I think I got everybody. Okay, great. I'll just ask the CAO to say a few words here now about the recreation and possibly grant, and doing something about the grant. Did you?
So certainly, we have reached out to our MP to look at a possible date. Now that all the CCRF announcements have been made, we want to look at hopefully getting all the committees together and doing kind of a grand opening or an announcement. We received about $1.6 million under the CCRF grant, so I think from the federal perspective, it would be good to at least acknowledge our federal partners. So we're probably looking somewhere in between early August to mid-August. Well, certainly as soon as I hear back from Barrett's office, I'll certainly reach out to council and to the committee members, and we'll look at scheduling a date that we can get that event up and going, so.
Yeah, well, you were kind of thinking Roebuck would be a nice place.
Yes, absolutely.
To do the event.
Yeah.
When we got the grant about a year ago, we were told not to say anything about it, but spend the money, which didn't make much sense, but anyway. So, now we forgot about making an announcement to the public. So the public doesn't know we got this grant. So, other than watching tonight, they know, but, we should make a formal, fun day. Bring in a bouncy council, face painting for the kids and stuff like that, and celebrate the grant. So, it'll be a half day, but and I think that's where you get all the recreation committees together, just to show up with the kids or do something like that. So, anyway, CAO will keep on that and let us know what's the date. Thank you. Library Board, Council Bowman.
Through your worship, nothing at this time.
Economic Development and Tourism, but we've had no meetings. PAC, Planning, we had a meeting last week.
Yeah, we had a meeting at planning, but for the rest of the council, unfortunately, we didn't have more. So we looked at all the applications, we had the residents there for each application that was there. We didn't see any problems with it, but Melissa will have to go over them and then council will make our decision. But there's no formal recommendation from PAC because we didn't have more.
Okay, so need to add, Melissa, no?
No, not yet.
Administration, CAO?
Yeah, so certainly a few things to update council. So just to kind of piggyback on your comment, Mayor Shaver, in regards to Roebuck. So I have reached out to the Ontario Heritage Trust. There's about 1,300 plaques across Ontario that have the blue and gold signs. So certainly looking for some more information from them on kind of where we kind of go next. According to they have a website. If you actually go to the Ontario Heritage Trust, they have a website, and all these 1,300 plaques come up with a little bit of information. So it is, 500 years ago that land was used for 40 communal longhouses. About 1,600 people occupied that site. So if we can look at, preserving that history and teaching it to people, I think it's important. So hopefully when I hear back from Heritage Trust, we'll have some more information that kind of hopefully will lead us to our next contact, and then from there, bring something forward to council hopefully in the fall.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
The other thing I'll add too is I did send out to council, we are looking at doing an AMO planning, foundations and planning with council on October 24th. That's offered through AMO. So it is a webinar that will be hosted here in the council chambers. So if council can make it, that's great. I was also introduced to staff as well too, for staff that want to participate as well too. So gives you the general basics when it comes to planning and zoning and official plans. So I think it's important for council, especially with the new bill and DPS as well too. So that's been sent out. As well as just the mayor and I are certainly meeting with the Tri-Council this week as far as the mayors and CAOs of Edwardsburg, Cardinal, and Prescott to have a discussion on kind of the Tri-Council meetings moving forward and kind of getting that ball rolling as far as what our plan is over the next 3 years and what we want to accomplish together. So certainly looking forward to getting that up and running. So other than that, that's all I have.
Good. All right, move on to Administration and Finance. And first thing we have, Report 2023-076, moved by Deputy Mayor Winan, seconded by Councillor Pape. Be resolved the council received a report regarding the food cycler household waste diversion, and that council approved the subsidized purchase of 50 food cycler units, and that council directs staff to sign a contract with Food Cycle Science for a pilot project of 50 units at an upset limit of 5,000 plus HST and shipping if applicable. Comments, discussion, councillors? Yeah.
Well, I think it's a good program. It went over well in Edwardsburg Cardinal. Their first allotment was gone, and they've gone through the second allotment. So I know I'm gonna put my name forward for one.
Anybody else? Yeah.
Through your worship, I know a few residents have come to myself and asked about these and were very interested, so.
CAL, do you wanna give anything you wanna add?
No, certainly, in my previous employment in South Dundas, we did the same thing with 100 units, and the nice thing about it is, you know, the ultimate goal is to divert waste from our transfer station, from our landfill site, so this is another one of those education and promotions that I think will go a long way, and in speaking with our clerk, you know, start small. There's no commitment. If we don't sell the 50, we can return them at a small cost. So, you know, we wait and see if the residents will buy into this program, and if it is, you know, taken really quickly, then, you know, certainly we can budget something into next year's budget to expand the program even more, so
Okay. Have we got space for them?
we'll find space.
It's always.
It's going in the clerk's office.
An extra space in the parking lot.
Last term, I remember we had the presentation, and there wasn't that much interest in it, and I don't think the other townships in the Prescott, anybody else bid into it either, so, but it's been about 3 years, I think, since this has taken off, so, yeah, so I hear people are interested now, which is good, so. The options on that, I believe they gave us 3 recommendations or options. How does council feel about which option to take, or? I got all these severances here. I thought I was doing that.
That's after. Not too far.
So, do not participate in 2023 and consider purchasing 50 units during 2024 budget. If federal funding is still available, purchase 100 units or do not participate at all. So, what does everybody think?
Your worship, I think that seems that there's enough interest in at least giving the 100 units a shot and see what happens.
50 units.
Or 50 units, yes.
Everybody in agreement? Okay, so, we'll go with option 1. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Nothing from operations. Planning and building services, we have report 2023-073, severance B-55-23. Moved by Councilor Pape, seconded by Deputy Mayor Winans. Be resolved that council recommends to the United Counties of Leeds and Grenville consent granting authority that consent application B-55-23 be approved, subject to 9 conditions of approval as detailed in staff report 2023-073. Comments, questions? Yes.
The only comment I have is that we had a resident here for that, and he agreed to all the conditions. They had no objection at all, and us on that we're here, we didn't have any objection either. The Federation has no objections, and neither did South Nation or the Roads Department or the Fire Chief.
Any other comments? Melissa, any comments?
No comments, your worship, just, obviously I apologize for the length, but I had attached the full PAC report because it wasn't formally received by the committee, just so the council had the background, information on severance, so.
Okay. Great. Okay, call the question, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Next, we have report 2023-074, severance B-68-23, moved by Deputy Mayor Winans, seconded by Councilor Pape. Be resolved that council recommends to the United Counties of Leeds and Grenville consent granting authority that consent application B-68-23 be approved, subject to 6 conditions of approvals as detailed in staff report 2023-074. Any comments on that one? Anyone? Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, this one was the same as the last one. The resident agreed to all the conditions, and the rest of us didn't have any objections.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Next report, 2023-075, zoning bylaws Z-03-23, moved by Councillor Pate, seconded by Deputy Mayor Winans. Be it resolved, the council received the planners report 2023-7-075 for information. Any comments, questions? No? Melissa, anything?
No, your worship, just again, this is the Maitland Tower rezoning, so, the report just includes the PAC report, which does the planning assessment of the application. We did have, our planning meeting with a quorum, and the property owner was there, and the bylaw is on the agenda, if council is supportive for 3 readings this evening.
Great, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Report 2023-078, PPS, moved by Councillor Henry, seconded by Councillor Bowman. Be resolved, the council directs staff to submit the comments attached to report 2023-078 to the Environmental Registry of Ontario, ERO, posting number 019-6813 prior to the August 4, 2023 deadline. Comments, questions? You know, I'm just calling it up here. And I think you gave us some options, yeah. So options, council directs staff to submit the attached comments to the ERO website as drafted. Two, council directs staff to submit the attached comments to the ERO website with revised recommendations as may be deemed appropriate by council. And 3, council received this report with no further action. So any comments on that, council? Did everybody read it? Bus, got anything to add?
No, your worship, again, this was out of the meeting that we had, and council at that time had indicated that they would like to provide some comments to the posting on the PBS changes, so it was based on the 6 questions that the province posed, and I tried to paraphrase my understanding of what council's opinion was on the changes. I'm hoping I captured it, but if not, that's why it's here, for you to say I didn't say that, so.
Okay, good. Very well done, very much. Okay, I'll call the question, all in favor? And then it's gonna be option 1, I think that passed, right?
Yes.
Send it to ERO? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Any notice of motions? Then skip over protective services, and I just want to give protective services and their operations just a chance to say a few words. So, John, you want to give us a few nice words?
So I was up last week to give some good news here. I was up mid last week to look at a new snow plow. It is ready to go. I'm just waiting for the front plow to show up, which should be here next week. It should be in our yard, I'm hoping. I got the invoice and all that good stuff. And I was also promised that our second truck will be built and in my hands, our hands, by snowfall. So that's a bonus. Other than that, daily routine of Public Works is going on. And nothing really new to add to the collection here.
And Tyler's back to work, I heard.
Tyler is back, so Tyler will be back tomorrow and the Saturday, yes.
Good.
Yes, so Tyler's back tomorrow before I got here, yes.
Just keep an eye on him, after an injury, it's gonna.
Yep, no, you wanted to come back with the doctor's note, that wasn't happening. That's not happening.
Big excitement last night?
Yes, your worship, so yeah, a lot of your firefighters are home Probably in bed. After a long night in Brockville, so we were out at 2:30 and got back around 8:30, so. Long night, but unfortunate results and incident, but your firefighters represented Augusta well and did an awesome job.
Good, no, appreciate it. It was a big enough fire, they had to call in, quite a few departments.
Yeah.
The mayor, Matt Wren, sent out an email this morning thanking all the mayors that fire department switched and to pass it on to the chiefs and the firefighters. So thank you from him and council here too.
I'll pass that on to the firefighters.
Okay, thank you. Okay, notice of motions, or any notice of motions? No? Bylaws. So I have, moved by Councillor Bowman, second by Councillor Henry, be resolved that bylaw number 3642-2023 being a bylaw to govern the proceedings of council be read the first time, second time, and a third time, and be enacted as read. All question, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Moved by Councillor Henry, second by Councillor Bowman, be resolved that bylaw number 3643-2023 being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 2965 as amended, brackets 1241 and 1243 County Road 2 be read a first time, second time, and a third time be enacted as read. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, announcements. Council have any announcements? Y'all have dull lights or what?
It's all quiet.
Pretty much.
All right, the clerks have asked me to, and on the website, they have the communication survey. It's only open until I believe July 24th. I went on it, and yes, I was one of the ones that went on it, looked at it, and didn't do the survey, but I just wanted to see what the questions were. So, anyway, so everybody, please take a look at it. I thought the questions were good, and we'll wait for the results after July 24th, so. There's I think Councillor Bowman went with me last year to the Food Bank Garden Party fundraiser at Nancy Castleman's in Prescott. It's on July 29th this year, so you're certainly invited. I think the tickets are $30 each, I believe. I haven't bought mine yet, but my intent is to go, so if you're interested, let me know. I'm not gonna buy your ticket, but
That was an option.
and last year it was very nice. Nancy Castleman's house is right on the estate. It's right on the river, and she was a former progressive conservative MPP, I think. Yeah. So.
It's very well done.
Yeah, I've never been in the house. Always wanted to go in, but never got a chance. I'll stick out in the yard, I guess, for now. Next we have the Garden of Hope, July 22nd at 10 o'clock. I'll be there. Just kind of walk through because I've never been through it, I'm ashamed to say. And so if you're there, it costs nothing. It's on Jones Court. So just come in. I'm sure there's going to be a big crowd. A lot of hard work and a lot of money has gone into expense. He's looking at doing a wildflower field. So I got a bunch of poppies I'm going to give him as far as, just letting him plant those. So anyway, it's encourage you to attend. And I had North Augusta down as a theme, a little bit of country.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Worship, if I could ask Deputy Mayor, if they're having a Bavarian garden, their last kick at the can is August, that's our only before September. Before they need to get that letter into us for council to pass a resolution that allowing them to have the Bavarian garden
You mean for a beer tent?
Yeah.
No, they're not planning on it.
Okay.
What?
It's not worth the access.
Too much trouble. Okay, okay, any questions on the agenda from the press? I don't think any press is with us.
No.
Any questions on the agenda from the public? Lori, any questions? Okay, next we have closed session, that's for section 239 of the municipal act. Sorry?
I was just gonna say one thing, Jeff, I don't know if, a lot of people know that if you have a smart serve certificate,
Yeah.
you need to get them renewed by September 1st. It was the end of June, but because there was so many people needing to take the test, either online or in person, that they've extended it till September 1st.
So when I was told to get my smart serve, it's a once in a lifetime thing.
Not now.
You mean the government lied to me?
The gaming board yes. Like, believe me, it's a 5-hour, whether you do it in class or online, it's a 5-hour session.
Next would be my boat license and my driver's license.
And it's a 33 multiple question test that you take at the end of it. And you need an 80% to pass. And you get 2 shots at it and then you gotta pay again to take it.
Wow, I think the only shots I'm gonna have is one bottle, so.
Somebody else is
That's smart server.
It's a
Anyway,
long day, believe me.
and I appreciate the people that take it and look after us, you know, so thank you very much for that, but I thought I was doing it right by doing it once, but anyway, so be it. Okay, where was I? Going on closed session. Moved by Councilor Bowman, second by Councilor Henry. Be it resolved that this council move to a closed meeting at, excuse me, 6:58 p.m. As per Municipal Act, Chapter 25, Section 2001, Section 239, brackets 2, discuss proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by municipality, proposed acquisition of industrial land by the municipality, and labor relations employee matter update. Call the question, all in favor? Carried, thank you.